T.A.G. Very nice, very evil.
That's T.A.G shit.
Free fall as I dive through the kaleidoscope in my mind. No rope up to climb. Gotta remind myself that I'm fine. Mama, I don't really.
You hear that hand rub on it because some of that ASMR for y'all going. But yes, welcome to the first episode in hope of many of NXT.A.G. That's a what's the word? Current logo for the moment. It's a work in progress logo, but this right here will be the start, because when Dizzle did his deadline / NXT discussion, he said we should go about discussing NXT, but discuss it in a different way than how we used to do it back then when we was discussing NXT and AEW. And the reason why we're choosing to focus on this is because a lot of the talent there are new. They're other than Wesley, Gigi, Ethan Page, Roxanne, Zarya, Stephanie Vacour, Julia, many others, Sean Spears. Other than the ones that we knew that there was talent from elsewhere, a lot of people are new to the wrestling business. So we want to highlight some of the things that they have going on in NXT, because we came from the heyday of silver and black. Black and gold. Then we went to 2.0, and now we're here in silver and black. And they cooking. Sean and team is down there cooking, and we want to discuss it, and not only discuss the show, but we also want to discuss some of the wrestlers, some of the storylines, some of the trajectory that we see, whether it's be NXT, whether it's Raw, SmackDown, hell, maybe if it's even outside the company. So no slight to Raw, no slight to SmackDown. Definitely no slight to Dynamite or Collision or anything like that. It's just, this is the first. And if it expands to do with AEW or Raw, SmackDown, TNA, whatever, we'll try to. But we want to do it with NXT. And we're going to start with here. We're going to start here. December 17th, tonight's episode. And for those who didn't know, I am ScooterRay, the man of many names. Shout outs to my tag brethren, current Tag in the Bank, current predictions champion, Lip Dizzle, Jaeger Bombastic, and Juggernaut 097. But NXT, let's go. All right. The show opened up with Big Oba, Big Femi, versus Axiom. Now, this match came about because Nathan Frazier was part of the Iron Survivor, and they had to defend their title belts against Miles Bourne and Tavion Heights of the NQCC. That's No Quarter Catch Crew, for those who are unfamiliar. And since Frazier was in the Iron Survivor, his septum got broken, and Axiom kind of had to carry the team during the tag match. So last week, Frazier felt bad, so he booked the tag team title match. Axiom felt bad because he wanted to get revenge for what Oba did, and he booked it for Axiom to go against Oba. And this opened the match. But you had Big Oba, who's on a collision course with whoever walks out as NXT champ at New Year's Evil. Y'all, I ain't gonna lie. I truly can appreciate that they gave Axiom a chance and that Axiom fought, but Oba, it's too dominant. They even said that Axiom is giving up 150 pounds to Big Oba, Big Femi. Just like Booker said, hold on, no bread, no water, just meat. Yep. I'll see how Booker does it, y'all. Strain the voice. But it wasn't 100% dominant faction because once again, like I said, they gave Axiom a fighting chance. He didn't just straight get squashed, but we knew the fate. Oba gets the dub, and once again, he's on that collision course to trick Willie at New Year's Eve because he's current champ. He does defend his belt, but we'll get there later. As of right now, it stands Oba, Trick Willie. Next up, we had an Eddie Thorpe interview. And Eddie Thorpe is challenging Trick Williams for the NXT championship. And he was basically saying, I don't see how I'm the bad guy. Because if anybody else would have done this, this person would have been a genius. This person would have been celebrated. Because it's me, I'm hated. But he said, you know what? Because, even Ava came in and was like, yeah, but you know what you did was wrong. You know you were supposed to be in the Iron Survivor and all of this. And Thorpe was like, I don't care. I got my title match. And I'm walking out as champ. Now, Eddie Thorpe. He's an interesting one because I thought when he first showed up, I seriously saw him in that North American title picture, maybe even the Heritage Cup because he did go for the Heritage Cup. But it's interesting seeing him as a main eventer or seeing him in this position because he has some stops. He has some start and stops due to like injuries and things. And the crowd kind of got behind him, but never fully. So I'm kind of wondering, is this kind of a tryout thing to see if Thorpe can be a main event talent or potentially a magical call-up? Because if you've been watching NXT long enough, and when they call up talent, sometimes they can call up talent that you'd be like, I didn't think that person was next up to be called up. But hey, stranger things have happened in the world of WWE. But so it's kind of interesting to see, how Thorpe is. And I wonder, is this like that trial to see, is he ready to be a main event player in NXT or potentially on the main roster? Then we had a backstage segment. Now, if you've been watching NXT long enough, there's been this will they, won't they, love triangle, love square, rhombus, pentagon thing with Carmen Petrovic and Asante Diodanis. He's been trying to smitten with her, giving the roses and things like that. He's been giving it to other women. It's been making Carmen jealous. It kind of came to head when Nikita was like, hey, Ashanti, I'm waiting for that text back, big dog. And it pissed Carmen off. Last week, when Carmen went against Nikita, he came out. He pushed Carmen out the way so she wouldn't take Nikita's attack, which caused Carmen to win. But Carmen got pissed at Ashanti because he pushed her. You got the dub, but you got mad. So she's back there. So Carmen's back there talking to Dion, and basically Dion was like, hey, maybe you being too rough, maybe being too harsh because he was trying to help you. Maybe you should go talk to him, this, that, and the third. And as friends, they hugged. Ashanti comes from down the hallway. He sees it. He's pissed because he's like, oh, you supposed to be my boy, and you hugging up on the girl that I'm trying to, okay, you know what? I am going to hit Nikita back. And it's like, okay, now let's bring it back in. We're used to seeing love triangles and love stories in wrestling, so it's nothing new. And I can appreciate as the developmental side that they want to do something more and do, storylines to see how people act in these type of storylines, because you never know what type of storyline you may get hit with in NXT or on the main roster. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of cool. Although it could be a little cheesy, and although it could be a little like, okay, student art project here, but we gotta also show a little bit of grace. I know a lot of people may frown and whatever. We have to show a little bit of grace, because at the end of the day, a lot of these people in NXT is only a couple of years into the wrestling business. And sometimes you got to get storylines out. Whether it's cheesy, whether it's whatever, you got to get storylines out. Next match, women's tag. We have Sol Ruka teaming up with Zarya against the Meta Girlies. Lash Legend and Jakara Jackson. A pretty solid match. 100% everything that is happening with the Meta Girls at the moment is on their way to the main roster. And with this upcoming transfer portal that they're doing between Raw, SmackDown, and NXT for when Raw goes to Netflix on the 6th, I 1000% see these two women being called up. I don't know which show between Raw or SmackDown, but most likely SmackDown, because they've been doing a lot more reps on SmackDown. So I definitely see SmackDown more than anything. But everything is definitely on the trajectory of making sure they're ready to ascend. This match was no different. I can appreciate that they was playing off the aspect of Sol and Zarya being singles talent, teaming up, because that's how Booker kept calling it. Was like, look, Lash and Jakara are actually a team compared to Zarya and Sol, who are just two singles teaming up. And they did pretty well, but ultimately the Meta Girlies got the dub. Now, I'm kind of intrigued to see where Sol and Zarya goes, because I'm wondering, when something I get to in a few moments, I wonder, are they gearing Zarya up more to go for the North American? Because even when the Women's North American Championship, because when she debuted against and beat up Fatal Influence. And so it's kind of interesting to see what they do with her too, because she's a good talent, very talented. It's almost starting to be that really weird realization that NXT has a lot of women talent, and a lot of women talent that's top tier. And sometimes I hate to say people can get lost in the shuffle, but people can get lost in the shuffle. So it's interesting to see, is Sol long to be on NXT, or maybe they may give her that call up. Because I could definitely see Zarya being down there maybe at least another year. But Sol, she may be one of them interesting ones that they're like, you know what? We may have seen enough. Let's get her on Raw and SmackDown. So, but definitely the Meta Girls, Lash and Jakara, I see them being called up during this transfer portal, because they've been all over. But yeah, Lash and Jakara get the dub. There we go. Then we get a segment with Tyson and Tyreek when they fought Hank and Tank last week. Tyson was showing, showmanship, saying, and Tyreek was like, man, I'm out. So it cut to last week when they was heading backstage and they was having a conversation about, you not showing love, like what's up with you and this, that, and the third. And Tyreek was like, man, look, we trying to win. You trying to be all buddy with these people. Like, that ain't how it works. Wesley was listening, and Wesley jumped in and was like, look here, I ain't trying to be in your business, but Tyreek is right. You trying to show love, you trying to be happy, you got to worry about yourselves. You see what happened? I cut my friends off, this, that, and the third. You got to do this by yourself. So we'll see where that goes. Wes is in an interesting position too, because I want to know, is Wes potentially being geared to be part of that transfer portal? Get the words out. Or do they plan on making him part of the North American Championship picture again, or potentially the world title picture? Depends on the outcome of New Year's Evil. But Wes is also in an interesting position too. Oh, give me clear again. Give me clear again, camera. There you go. Oh, I must have made some sudden movements. But hey, it's interesting to see what's going to happen with Wes. And Tyreek and Tyson, they're still a fairly new team. I think they only had a couple of matches on NXT TV. Maybe on Level Up, they probably have more matches, which I don't watch Level Up often, but they're, still part of that whole group where, the fact that NXT has a lot of tag teams, so you may see some interchangeable pieces, but I don't know the way it's going. Either Tyreek is going to turn on Tyson, or maybe Tyson just might say, you know what, I'm going to go to the dark side. So we'll see. We shall see. Oh, I need to start making sudden movements apparently, because my camera is not liking it. All right. Next up, Jada Parker and Ren Sinclair. This was a situation that happened last week where, they was in the locker room. They got in each other's faces along with Tavion and Miles, of course, with Bronco and Lucian. Yeah. So you had the ladies. You had the ladies going at it. Jada is too impressive. I'm wondering if it wasn't for the aspect of possibly Julia and Stephanie, and maybe, did they truly flirt with the idea of putting a belt on her? But at this moment in time, and don't want to say it this way to diminish Fallon, I honestly think that Women's North American Championship at this moment in time will be better suited on Jada. She is the fan favorite. She has the charisma. She has that just flair about her, and maybe time to go ahead and put the North American Championship at least on Jada. And Ren, I'm starting to love me some Ren. Ren has definitely grown on me. She's starting to feel like she's NXT's Chelsea Green. I'm not gonna say it the way. I'm sorry. But she's starting to feel like NXT Chelsea Green, and her being an addition to the NQCC at first was a little like, but Ren is starting to show some heart, and I could definitely see her being a utility player, as Dizzle like to say, being a utility player in NXT ultimately until she gets called up or anything like that. But what's funny enough too? I can also see Ren potentially getting the Women's North American Championship too. So, but I think as of now, it would behoove to possibly give that championship to Jada, unless, once again, Jada's a surprise call-up. I think it'll be too soon, but hey, you never know. You never know. They may be very high on Jada Parker and her athleticism, her charisma, and everything. So you just never know. Next up, we had a segment with Shotzi, Tatum, and Gigi, basically saying how, we're kind of like the outcast, so it's good that we formed, and we need to topple the Mean Girls. We need to topple Fatal Influence. And then eventually they go to Fatal Influence, and they're basically like, man, we ain't worrying about them. And that's when the unholy union of Alpha Fire and Isla Dawn show up, and they was like, hey, y'all's little team is looking a little fragile. Y'all might want to get it back together. And of course, Fatal Influence was like, girls, whatever, we out, bye. And now for the NXT Tag Team Championship, we got Gallus versus Fraxium. That's Nathan Frazier and Axiom. I love the fact that Axiom really couldn't walk. After him suffering a beatdown in Essence against Oba, Axiom was like, whoo. And Nathan Frazier was like, hey, I told you, amigo, I got this. And I can 100% see they picked Gallus to be just that team. Like, it didn't feel like the title was going to change hands, but it felt like it's a good team to go against. And I can appreciate the fact that Axiom had to dig down deep. Nathan had to, take over. And kind of like what I was saying in our tag group chat, I was like, had I known that they was turning Fraxium into the new Paul London and Brian Kendrick, I would never have went against them in Deadline against the NQCC. But I'm actually enjoying them as a tag team. I remember when they first put them together, it did feel like, oh, y'all just taking two singles and gonna just put them in a team and just. But I'm actually enjoying Fraxium as a team. Like, I can enjoy, once again, if you are a long-standing wrestling fan, the fact that they're the new Kendrick and London. They're NXT's Kendrick and London. And to be honest with you, they need to carry that same energy and momentum when they get called up. Because, yeah, they will be okay as singles, but due to the fact of the size and their style, it'll be better suited for them to stay as a team and truly book them like Kendrick and London. Because if you remember, in the early 2000s, Kendrick and London had SmackDown's tag team division on lock. It just felt like those guys were never going to lose those belts. They had those championships on lock. And even come next week, they're doing a fatal four-way tag team to decide who's going to be the number one contender, which I think is probably going to end up being OTM, because they've been flirting with OTM going against Fraxium for a while. So it may be time to go ahead and pull that trigger on at least OTM getting a title shot. But once again, we'll see come next week when I rediscuss that. But yeah, them boys can go. Them boys can go. No matter how much of a beating they have, them boys can go, and I can appreciate it. Gallus is in a unique spot because I would have thought they would have been called up by now. I don't know if it's an injury thing, or I don't know if they not too keen to see what they can slot them in on Raw or SmackDown, but I 100% thought Gallus would have been called up by now. And that's personal opinion, of course. Everybody had their own. But I really thought that they would have been called up by now. But they took the loss. And it was just the aspect of seeing the fact that Fraxium went through what they went through, especially Axiom going through what he went through with Oba. And then successfully them defending the tag team championships again. So, yeah, good on Fraxium. Next up, we have Lexis King and Charlie Dempsey doing a workout. Lexis King went to Charlie Dempsey and was like, hey, I want another shot at the Heritage Cup. Charlie Dempsey was like, I'll do it under one condition. You survive a workout. So they was doing the workout. Lexis King survived. Charlie Dempsey was like, hey, you get your shot next week. It's interesting to see where this Lexis King thing is going to go. Is he going to stay the good guy on the straight and narrow because he's still on the notion of he's trying to shed the whole I'm my father's son and I'm being my own man? And, so don't get me wrong. I could potentially see him possibly go ahead and getting that cup off of Charlie. And Charlie Dempsey and the NQCC. They're going to be an interesting bunch between Charlie, Ren, Tavion, and Miles. It's going to be interesting because are they heels? Are they faces? As of now, I don't see how they will slot them on the main roster. And don't get me wrong, I know Miles and Tavion are still fairly new in this. Ren has been around for a little bit. I want to say Charlie Dempsey too. So it's going to be interesting to see how the NQCC is going to be booked in these upcoming weeks because of it feels like a lot of it got a little discombobulated when Drew Gulak got fired, and it feel like they had to kind of scramble to make things work. So it's going to be interesting to see NQCC's presence on NXT throughout 2025. Then we get Ethan Page, who's been dejected for a few weeks because he's lost the big one. He lost the championship. He can't get it together. So he comes out there in the famous arena that Shawn Michaels cut his I Lost My Smile promo. He was kind of doing the same. And as he was doing it, Javon Evans comes out and was like, look here. You worked your ass off to get here, all ego. And you win some, you lose some. But that don't mean you got to be all hard on yourself and down and this, that, and the third. But how about we see the real Ethan Page? How about we see, drop the all ego and this, that, and the third? And Ethan Page was like, you know what? I don't think this is about me losing my smile. It's about getting rid of yours. And he bust him in the mouth with the microphone, kind of beat down on him. Then he took the chair, put him around the neck, stomped on it, and you could tell, I'm sorry, once again, we know this is developmental and things like that, but maybe Javon might have hit the blood pack too soon. But as soon as he stomped, now I will give him credit. When Ethan stomped that chair, like he just exploded the blood out, and it was like, oh shit. Like, it was a sight to see, don't get me wrong. It was definitely a sight to see. But it's gonna be interesting to see, one, how long they're gonna keep Javon out. Two, All Ego seems to be back. And in my personal opinion, I don't see him, unless they're going to really try to run some angles with him and other people. Maybe him and Javon may be the final, whatever. But I don't see All Ego being long on NXT. I mean, I predict that he may be in Rumble, but once again, since they're doing the transfer portal, that maybe All Ego gets called up, but I don't know. I don't see Ethan Page being too much longer on NXT, but once again, they may, do some unique things, and maybe after Mania, they might give him, these next few months, and maybe after Mania, he gets called up, but I would have thought around Rumble, especially since he lost the belt, lost the rematch, lost the deadline, that I was thinking, maybe around the Rumble time, maybe All Ego might go ahead and be on Raw or SmackDown, especially since he was kind of having his little tiff with Punk and everything. So I don't know. And Javon is a talent. I can appreciate that they're giving him a superstar adjacent treatment with the fact that, because in the back he was running down his accomplishments. Like, he was like, I was on my first PLE. I had a title shot. I went against Randy Orton. I almost won the Iron Survivor. Like, I could appreciate that even in his losses, that he still looks amazing. Like, Javon, he's bouncy. Like, Javon is going to be something. If he doesn't get any injuries that's going to sideline him or anything, I could see Javon being, to be honest with you, I could potentially see him being NXT champion. And I could see him going on the main roster and being a fan favorite. Like, maybe not one of the fan favorites that's going to be a world champion, but possibly Intercontinental, possibly United States champion. And, maybe if they find a decent tag partner, maybe but I can see Javon being something serious. Like, I can see him being a serious player in the next few years in between NXT and WWE. But only time will tell, because he's definitely had a hell of a year in 2024. So definitely only time will tell. We get a segment of Trick and Oba. Oba basically was like, hey, hold on to that belt because of her or whoever has that belt. I'm taking it. The ruler, big over, big Femi, no bread, no water, just me. I made up for it for last time. There you go. But then we get a segment of Stephanie McClure. She's basically telling Cora Jade, hey, all that jibber jabber BS you've been pulling, wait till next week. Wait till next week when I finally get my hands on you. And her final words was like, literally, Cora, I'm going to drag you to hell with me. Ma'am, do not talk to me in that manner. Stephanie McClure is another one. I can 100% see why she did not win the Iron Survivor, because they're slotting it for Julia, and 1000% I can see it like stand and deliver Julia versus Stephanie, because they're putting them on a collision course, and I can 1000% see Julia versus Stephanie at stand and deliver, because I can see Roxy potentially losing at New Year's Evil and potentially go ahead and just get called up. Roxy and Cora, I think the only thing that's been stopping Cora is her injuries. I wouldn't be surprised if they're using these next few weeks to go ahead and give her these last couple of reps. But Roxy and Cora, I 1000% see called up soon. And Stephanie, I could potentially see Stephanie within a year, knock on wood, no major injuries, possibly the same with Julia. If they don't, I can see them potentially saving them for early 2026. But I could potentially see Julia and Stephanie late 2025 being called up. For sure. And then the main event, Trick Willie defending his belt against Eddie Thorpe. It wasn't a bad match. I can appreciate the fact that even Eddie Thorpe went out there, did his thing. He kind of showed that, he can hang. Trick is going to be Trick. The crowd was going stupid. The building was shaking. Now, the finish was interesting because we had a ref bump. And Eddie hit his finisher, but the ref was down. A second ref comes in. Trick kicks out. Eddie was hitting a whole bunch of corner kicks similar to haluva kicks. Shout out to Sami Zayn, former NXT champ himself. And on the third one, he was hit with the Trick shot knee. The way Trick fell into the pinfall, most of his upper half was above, like on the mat, and you see Eddie kind of place his hand on Trick's like abdomen. The original ref is seeing Thorpe pinning Trick, while the new ref is seeing Trick pinning Thorpe. And that's how the match ends. We don't know what's up because, of course, with it being on CW, it had a hard 9 o'clock. Boop, we out. So I would not be surprised if they run it back to get a definite winner, so that way we'll know who goes against Big Oba, Big Femi, come New Year's Evil. I'm not mad at it. I'm not. But at the same time, why not? Why not? Why not do it? And I'm going to say this. I know. I love Trick Williams, but I really want Oba. I really want Oba to go ahead and get that NXT championship off of Trick. The only reason I don't want Oba to win, because if Oba loses and it leads to him go ahead and getting called up, I am 1000% okay with that too. But I'm just saying, Big Oba, Big Femi, the ruler, I would not mind seeing him, because now I can see potentially Oba winning, he's champ, and maybe Trick gets called up. I don't know, but of course, we're spitballing. Trick's trajectory. I'm trying to see how soon they want to call up Trick. I wouldn't be surprised they want him to get some more reps as far as wrestling because he has the charisma, he has the look. He's pretty decent. He's pretty decent / good at talking. The wrestling can be a little, but hey, anybody can get better. So I'm kind of wondering how much longer they're gonna let Trick cook down there in NXT. Are they gonna save him for Stand and Deliver, and then after that, him get called up, kind of like how Carmelo did last year? Do they want to, potentially make him part of the Rumble this year just to see how the crowd reacts to him and then go from there? But it's gonna be interesting to see Trick's trajectory and see how he's treated, especially when he goes to the main roster, especially. And Big Oba, I feel like he's a gift wrap. Whether it's NXT or whether it's a main roster, I feel like he's a gift wrap. Don't mess it up. Please. 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 Sean, Trips, please. Please. Not over. Not over. Please not over. But that was NXT. We have a fatal 4-way to determine who's the next tag contenders. We don't know the status of the NXT Championship. We'll find out next week. Cora Jade is going to take on Stephanie Vaquer. Charlie Dempsey is going to defend his Heritage Cup against Lexis King. But yeah, pretty solid show. Pretty solid episode. And hey, that's episode 1. Episode 1 of NXT.A.G. You see the little logo at the top? I'm gonna show it again. And once again, it's a temp logo. You know what I'm saying? Until we do something more fancier. But look at that. Look at that. NXT.A.G. But yeah, thank y'all for tuning in. I had fun. And I want to keep doing this. I want to keep going, definitely exploring more. Maybe in the future, I may not go through the full show. Maybe I may just go through some highlights. I don't know. Y'all let me know below. Because whether you loved it or hate it, don't forget to rate it. Thumbs down, thumbs up, perfect thumbs up. Like, share, comment. Let us know what you think about NXT. Let us know what you think about the idea of the show. Let us know what you think about some of the wrestlers on NXT and where do you see them in the next few years, whether it's in WWE or whether it's outside. Hey, we've seen mad talent come and go from both sides. Actually, all sides, from New Japan to Impact to AEW, WWE, they just be all just going everywhere. But thank y'all for tuning in. Oh, sorry. You have to tag that subscribe button. You got to tag that notification bell so you can be notified for NXT.A.G. Tag me in, Dizzle Moments, and whatever just gets posted on the channel. Welcome to the Tag Nation. If you've been here, thank you. If you're new here, welcome. Shout outs once again to Lip Dizzle, current champ, current tag in the bank holder. Man has all the power right now. Shout outs to Jaeger Bombastic, The Forbidden Door, Juggernaut 097. And until next time, love one another, take care of one another, love yourself and take care of yourself. Thank y'all for tuning in and sign y'all out with this too sweet. Don't forget to tag out, people. Peace.